Hi, Chef Paul here, head chef at Hampton School. Today I'm going to show you how to make a very simple but very versatile and tasty flatbread. So some very simple equipment that you will need is just a teaspoon, a dessert spoon, a normal size cup, mixing bowl and a chopping board, and then later on we will also need a pair of tongs for taking the flatbreads off of the pan. So 4 dessert spoons of dried yeast, 2 dessert spoons of caster sugar, 2 dessert spoons of olive oil, half a teaspoon of the table salt, just your cup of warm water. Important for it to be warm, it will help everything react a little quicker. Don't have it too hot because then that will very much upset the yeast. So give that a good stir for about 30 seconds. If you set that aside for 15 or maybe 30 minutes, you could perhaps go and do a Joe Wicks workout. You can see that if you leave it somewhere warm, covered with a tea towel, this is how much it should grow. Get your plain flour, and we're going to add 3 cups of plain flour into our mix. I'm just going to put a little bit on my board for later on. Using the same spoon, stir it until you can't stir anymore. So keep stirring, keep stirring, keep stirring, keep stirring. It's getting more and more difficult. Once you can't stir anymore, scoop the remnants of the dough off of the spoon, and then the fun bit, get your fingers in there and then whip it out onto the board. A little bit of flour onto your fingers, a little bit on your board, a bit more flour, shape it into a nice ball. With a little flour on the top, back into our mixing bowl. Okay, so let's set that aside, cover it with a tea towel somewhere warm. I've left mine for about 30 minutes. Pop it out onto your board, again with a little flour, and then what I like to do is break this up into about 6 pieces. Roll that into a little ball. I don't use a rolling pin, I literally just flatten it out with my fingers on the chopping board. At home you could use a frying pan, grill pan. You could even bake it in the oven or pop it under the grill. Try not to put your fingers through it, otherwise you end up with holy flatbreads. Then I'm going to roll the next 6 into little balls. So 1, 2, 3. This is a very versatile dough mix, so you could in fact put these onto a baking tray, let them re-proof, pop them in the oven and make little bread rolls. You could use them as pizza bases, you could use them as pita breads. 4, 5, number 6 already on the panini machine. Let's quickly flip that over, see how we're getting on. That's looking good. If you only eat 2 or 3, you could pop the rest of them into the freezer. I'll pop these ones back into my mixing bowl, onto a plate. You might want a little bit more colour on that, you might want it a little bit more crispy than that, but this is perfectly edible, light and fluffy flatbreads. So send us your pictures, send us your videos. We'll get Tony to judge who makes the best ones, and most of all, have fun making them.